Pope Benedict XVI announces he will resign from the papacy on February 28. The Liberal Party and the United Nationalist Alliance plan their proclamation rallies on the eve of the first day of the official campaign period tomorrow. Salvage operations for the USS Guardian are postponed due to unfavorable weather conditions in the Tubataha Reef. And Justice Secretary Laila de Lima says Aman Futures Group founder Manuel Amalillo must serve at least 15 months of his jail term in Malaysia before returning to the Philippines. I'm Nancy Irlanda. This is Solar Nightly News. Good evening. The Vatican announces that Pope Benedict XVI will step down from the papacy at the end of this month due to his deteriorating health. Here's Mai Rodriguez with details.
Pope Benedict XVI announced he will resign on February 28, the end of this month, because he no longer has the strength to fulfill the duties of his office. He is the first pontiff since the Middle Ages to take such a step. The 85-year-old Pope said he had noticed that his strength had deteriorated over recent months, and I quote, "to the extent that I have had to recognize my incapacity to adequately fulfill the ministry entrusted to me." He says, and I quote, "For this reason, and well aware of the seriousness of this act, with full freedom, I declare that I renounce the ministry of Bishop of Rome, successor of St. Peter." That's according to a statement from the Vatican. Pope resignations are rare. Only a few popes have resigned in the history of the Roman Catholic Church. A pope is far more than chief executive of the worldwide church. For the Catholic faithful, he is the successor to St. Peter and vicar of Christ on earth, who is expected to serve until death. Popes are elected by cardinals in a process the Church believes is guided by the Holy Spirit. Popes can resign or be deposed. However, such occurrences are so rare that the idea of a modern-day pontiff stepping down is hard to grasp. Past popes who quit served mostly in the Church's first millennium. Historians say Pope Celestine V resigned in 1294, shortly after taking the papal office. The last time pontiffs resigned or were deposed was during the Great Western Schism of the late 14th and early 15th centuries, when three papal lines competed. The issue was raised again when Pope John Paul II became increasingly debilitated by Parkinson's disease. Still, John Paul stayed in the job until his death. One major worry is that if a pope retires, it could split the church into factions, with some Catholics following the former pontiff instead of the current man in the job. Mai Rodriguez, Solar News.
Before he became the leader of about 1.2 billion Catholics around the world, Pope Benedict XVI grew up in a family of modest means and witnessed the Nazi regime's harsh treatment of Catholics. Mai Rodriguez is back with his story.
Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, the given name of Pope Benedict XVI, was born in Passau, Germany on April 16, 1927. His father, a policeman, belonged to an old family of farmers from Lower Bavaria of modest economic resources. His mother was a daughter of artisans. Pope Benedict spent his childhood and adolescence in Traunstein, a small village near the Austrian border. His faith and the education received at home prepared him for the harsh experience of those years during which the Nazi regime pursued a hostile attitude towards the Catholic Church. The young Joseph saw how some Nazis beat the parish priest before the celebration of Mass. Fast forward to April 19, 2005, Ratzinger was elevated to the papacy upon the death of Pope John Paul II and celebrated his papal inauguration Mass 5 days later. Known for his rigid views on Catholicism, he has sought a more inclusive image as Pope. Mai Rodriguez, Solar News.
Well, the Liberal Party will hold its proclamation rally tomorrow at the historic Plaza Miranda, where President Aquino is expected to endorse administration coalition candidates. Here's Ina Andolong with that story.
President Aquino personally selected the venue for the Liberal Party's proclamation rally tomorrow night. LP will kick off its campaign for its senatorial bets at Plaza Miranda, a place which is historically significant to the party. In 1971, a bombing incident disrupted LP's campaign rally at Plaza Miranda, killing 9 people and injuring close to 100, including prominent party members.
Tulad din nung mga ipinaglalaban noong nangyari ang Plaza Miranda bombing, na alam natin talagang sa kapanahunan ng kung ang nilalabanan noon ay diktatorya, ang nilalabanan naman ngayon ay katiwalian at kahirapan.
After announcing plans to elevate the campaign to a higher level, LP's proclamation rally will be graced by its celebrity members, like Aga Mulak and his wife Charlene, who are said to be hosting the event. All 12 LP senatorial candidates will be there to deliver a speech not exceeding 8 minutes each. To further highlight his all-out support for the slate, only the president will be delivering an endorsement speech.
The president is calling the shots as far as these elections are concerned because he really wants to be able to ensure that what he has done over the last 3 years, he will be able to sustain and continue.
LP officials say their 3 common candidates with UNA have assured them that they will not join their rival sorties. LP sorties will be done by region. This week, their candidates, who will be divided into smaller groups, will be visiting nearby provinces in the south. Next week, they will head to Visayas, then move to Mindanao in the last week of the month. Individual campaigns, however, are expected.
They committed to join the LP activities. Now, we hope that they will be true to their words.
Recent surveys have mostly shown a tie between LP and UNA candidates entering the Magic 12. This is still far from LP's target of a 12-0 sweep. The party, however, is not worried, saying surveys at the start of the campaign still tend to change later in the game. Besides, the party believes the president's endorsement power is stronger now than in 2010. The public can also expect more of LP media advertisements with the start of the official campaign period tomorrow. While the LP didn't give a figure on how much they've spent so far on the pre-campaign ads, LP assures the public that all expenses and campaign contributions will be reported and declared before COMELEC. Similar to the 2010 elections, the party plans to be strict in accepting campaign funds to ensure that people who will be donating resources are not those who expect favors in return. Ina Andolong, Solar News.
Justice Secretary Laila de Lima says Aman Futures Group founder Manuel Amalillo must remain in a Malaysian jail for more than a year before he can return to the Philippines. Here's Anjo Alimario to tell us more.
Aman Futures owner Manuel Amalillo's return to the country will have to wait a while. Justice Secretary Laila de Lima says Amalillo needs to serve about 15 months or 1 year and 3 months in jail first in Malaysia before he can be extradited to the Philippines. She notes this period is still subject to negotiation and appeal in order to make Amalillo's stay in Malaysia shorter.
One thing is sure, or one thing is clear. There will be no immediate extradition. Or if we're thinking that we expect Mr. Amalillo to be extradited here in the next few days or in the next few weeks, that's next to impossible. Ang tinatrabaho natin is yung makuha siya even before the full service of the 2-year jail term, kasi that's possible daw. He has to serve a fraction or a certain portion of the 2-year jail term.
Malaysian Attorney General Tan Sri Gani Patail assures the Philippine government Amalillo will stay in jail while serving his sentence. DOJ Undersecretary Jose Vicente Salazar, assisted by Philippine Ambassador to Malaysia Ed Malaya, met with Patail last week to discuss Amalillo's case. De Lima says the country can avail of the extradition process even in the absence of an extradition treaty as provided for under Malaysian laws.
What is important is that the Malaysian government, through our counterpart, the Attorney General, assured us of their commitment to help us out in extraditing. Sila na nga yung nag-suggest na ipadala yung team na yan para they can already start working on the requisite legal documents.
De Lima also highlights the freezing of Amalilia's assets in Malaysia as one of the results in the discussion. De Lima adds this is a significant move towards the ultimate goal, which is recovering the money of the duped investors.
Now, very important kasi later, of course, the target is how to recover so that yung mga nabiktima kahit papano ay meron pa ring matanggap.
De Lima reiterates Amalilia's nationality will be a non-issue, although she stands pat on her earlier statement that Amalilio is a Filipino citizen. On the reported Amalilio's ties with high-ranking Malaysian officials, De Lima considers this as a peripheral issue. She adds the department won't dig deeper into this, as this might only complicate matters. A team of DOJ prosecutors and special counsels is already being formed to be sent to Malaysia and oversee Amalilio's extradition process. Anjoli Mario, Solar News.
President Aquino has deferred the EDSA rehabilitation to iron out the inconveniences it may cause motorists. Now the Metro Manila Development Authority has proposed several measures before the actual road repair. Here's George Cahiles with that story.
The major concern of the Metro Manila Development Authority in the planned EDSA rehabilitation project is the traffic jam that it will cause. A study of the MMDA shows that if the project will push through, travel time from EDSA Taft to Monumento during rush hour will be increased by 2 hours. 130,000 vehicles or 40% of the total volume of vehicles will not be able to traverse EDSA daily. With this, the MMDA is proposing several measures before the actual road rehabilitation. First, the immediate construction of the integrated provincial bus terminals. Second, the reblocking of badly damaged pavements of EDSA during weekends. And third, the improvement of possible alternate routes in case 2 lanes of EDSA will be closed. The MMDA says after the construction of the integrated provincial bus terminals, around 7,000 buses will no longer ply EDSA.
Yung sinabi ko kay Secretary Abaya, kahit hindi ganun kaganda, para ma-jumpstart na lang habang nakalipat na, tsaka ayusin.
Tolentino says the structural design of the bus terminals were already presented and the bidding process may start April this year. The integrated bus terminals will be constructed in North Avenue, FTI Taguig, and near Coastal Road. Meanwhile, the MMDA says only 7.88% of EDSA needs to be reblocked.
Ang total area ng EDSA is around 800,000 square meters. So, i-compare mo yung 62,000 na for reblocking nila, it's around 7.88% na lang. So, baka uubra na gawin na lang nila kapag weekends.
Resho says since the EDSA rehabilitation is on hold, the DPWH may opt to do the reblocking little by little during weekends. She says the MMDA is willing to give permit if the DPWH decides to operate that way. George Cahiles, Solar News.
Well, a medical legal expert from the Public Attorney's Office says a witness to the slay case of environmentalist Jerry Ortega did not commit suicide. Autopsy reports reveal the victim was actually murdered. Joyce Ilas with a closer look.
The key witness in the murder of environmentalist and broadcaster Jerry Ortega was killed.